What up, y'all? Happy Monday and welcome back to UC Kayla TV. Or if it's your first time, welcome to UC Kayla TV. Y'all, I am so happy to be back. I definitely needed the time away. I know I didn't do my retro review on Thursday, y'all. It was my birthday last Monday. Started chapter 29. I just needed some time to myself. But I'm back, y'all. It's Monday, and y'all know every Monday, if I don't do nothing else, I'm going to bring some sisters content to this channel. So we're back. If you are new to UC Kayla TV, thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. I'm so excited for the growth of the channel. We're creeping up to 500 subscribers, and I really could not have done it without you all. So thank you so much. If you're here and you've been here a couple times and you just haven't subscribed, go ahead and join us, guys. We love to have you here in the UC Kayla TV community. Now, guys, I have some news. Before we get into our sisters video for today, I got a new ring light. So I know the angle is kind of different because I actually have the big ring light on the stand, and I'm just trying to upgrade the channel. But until YouTube starts paying me, guys, it comes out of my pocket. So I'm going to make some upgrades as I can. I'm working on some branding things. I'm going to have a new intro that wasn't created by me on iMovie. So I have some things that I'm working on, but again, I do have to finance them myself. But it is an investment in myself, guys, and an investment in you all so that the content can just continue to get better. All right, let's get, I'm so sorry for the long intro. I just wanted you guys to know what I've been up to and where I've been. Let's get into the video. So today we're talking about the sisters, friends, or foes, guys. And no, I don't think they're actually foes. Let me just put that disclaimer out there right now. But we are going to get into a breakdown of the friendships. And I had been wanting to do this, and then I had a comment from someone saying, maybe you should do a breakdown on the friendships. And I'm like, that's confirmation. I hear you guys. I really do appreciate your feedback when I get it. So I said, all right, we'll do that for our Monday video. So we all know that the Sistas Circle, the original sisters, the four of them is comprised of Andi, Danni, Karen, and Sabrina. And then later on, we got Miss Fatima. So there are, in my opinion, there are three main friendships in the Sistas Circle. We have Danni and Sabrina. We have Andi and Karen, and then we have Andi and Fatima, you know, in a league of their own, and they're trying to integrate Fatima into the circle. We'll see how that goes. And as a Fatima fan, I'm not even a fan of Fatima being integrated into the circle. I'm going to just keep it real with you. So anyway, if you see me looking over, guys, even though I got a ring light, I'm still looking at my notes. Ain't nothing changed with that. So we're going to start off with Danni and Sabrina. So the ways I would describe Danni and Sabrina's friendship, I would say codependent. I would say overly involved in each other's business. I would say definitely less one-sided than the group, because Sabrina does actually care about what Danni has going on, and Danni does actually care about what Sabrina has going on. And I would also say that it's more equal as far as Danni takes Sabrina seriously and Sabrina takes Danni seriously. When I think about Andi and Karen, I would describe their friendship as codependent, overly involved in each other's business. It's only slightly less one-sided than the group, because you have Karen who only wants to know Andi's business so she can be up in her business and tell her what to do. And then lastly, we have, and guys, when I say codependent, I mean it as far as, you know how like something happens and then they jump on the phone and call each other, like instead of talking it out with their boyfriends or partners or whatever we want to call them, they could be at work and something happened and they jump on the phone. It's like, okay, these women are in their 30s. I'm 29, and me and my best friend do not be on the bat line every 5 seconds every time something happens. I'm not saying there aren't people who are, you know, friends like that, and there are some people who might not see an issue with it. But as an adult, I feel like it's a little bit overkill how much, it's like, let stuff happen first, then call each other and talk about it as a whole. Like, no, they don't miss a detail. That's what I mean by codependent, because it's just like they need that to be able to function or make decision to decision. That's a little bit extra to me. All right, Andi and Fatima, lastly, I would say their friendship is more balanced. And I would say that because insight is offered on both sides. Andi has helped Fatima see some things more clearly that she was second guessing in herself when it came to she and Zach. And then Fatima has given Andi, even though she's her boss, she has told that line and just been like, hey, you tripping on this, as far as her and Robin or she and Gary. I would say their friendship is growing at a healthy pace. And I would say that trust is the basis of their friendship, because that's what really sparked Andi's interest, is Fatima being able to have her back and she didn't have to question where her loyalty lies. It was far beyond just the duties of the job. All right, so what's my opinion of the Sister Circles? The Sister Circle, because it's one circle. They're just like cliques within the circle. So for Danni and Sabrina, I would say Danni and Sabrina are real friends. I just feel like, again, like I was talking about that codependent thing earlier, I just feel like Danni and Sabrina need to flourish as individuals and stop depending on each other so much for advice every step of the way, because they don't listen to each other half the time anyway. If you just want to sound the board, keep it real with your friend and be like, girl, let me tell you what happened. I already know what I'm going to do, but I just need somebody to tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be growth in their friendship. And that's what I mean. Like, we see Fatima and Andi's friendship growing. It's getting more intimate the more they get to know each other. But the rest of the girls is like, they've been friends since college. And sometimes the way they interact with each other is like, all right, you should already know that person when you come to them, you know? So, but I do think Danni and Sabrina are real friends. And I see that. I think they both just personally need to take a step back, not from their friendship, but they need to take a step back and reevaluate within themselves some issues they may have, some decisions they need to make, and don't make that the friend's responsibility to be their sounding board. Because when Sabrina was trying to say to Danni, like, oh, you always got something to say about Calvin, and sometimes that have influenced my decision. It's like, girl, you are very grown. And you still be with a man. You do what you want to do anyway. So if that's going to be an issue for them, if they care that much about what the other person thinks, they may have to reevaluate how much they tell. That's my opinion. And then as far as Andi and Karen, y'all know I'm not the biggest Karen fan, but I will keep it real. As far as loyalty, Karen is a good friend to Andi. But there's not been a lot of growth in their friendship, I will say, as far as it's just like Karen can be very controlling when it comes to Andi, and Andi doesn't like it. We can tell that Andi really doesn't like it anymore. Like, she may have never liked it, but it's becoming very apparent. So what she needs to do, if their friendship is growing as a point of growth for their friendship, y'all have been friends long enough where you should be able to go to Karen and be like, girl, listen, I don't know who you think you're talking to, or let me remind you of XYZ that you got going on, but I do not like the way you come at me about my problems. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop telling you stuff if every time I come to you, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? That would be a point of growth in the friendship. And then you should be able to trust that Karen can receive that and do what she may with it. But I don't feel like the growth is there, because every time Andi tells Karen something, every time anybody tells Karen something that she doesn't want to hear, she gets mad, she storms off, she's not receptive, she's not open. Well, Andi, if this is going to be your best friend, she's going to have to grow in that regards, or you may need to reevaluate the friendship. So that's what I would say about Andi and Karen. It's not that I don't think they're good friends. It's not that I don't think that Karen really cares for Andi and Andi really cares for Karen. I see them growing apart a little bit because Andi is growing as a person. And that's not all due to Fatima. Fatima is Superwoman, but I think that Andi stepping back from the circle a little bit. Now, she does have that support with Fatima. It's just like Zach. Fatima offers that support where they can step back from the usual. And once they look inside themselves, then they have a level-headed support system to boost them along. That's what's happened with Andi, I feel. And Andi's growing, and she doesn't like the usual way things used to go with Karen. But she's not quite there yet, because she should have checked Karen. Well, was that in the mid-season finale, y'all? Y'all let me know in the comments. Was that in the mid-season finale? Because I haven't rewatched a lot of the episodes because I've been busy. When Karen answered Andi's phone and lost her mind, I think that was the mid-season finale. When Gary was coming up, Karen came over unannounced, blowing up about Zach, who she's not even with. And then when Andi was saying something, she had an attitude with her and then answered her phone for her. Like, what? Like, Andi, you could tell Andi's not all the way there yet, because she should have checked her for that. But anyway, that's the boundary. Karen is a line stepper. The line be right here, and she be, yeah, she's a line stepper. So yeah, I do think they're friends. I just think it is dysfunctional, just like Karen's intimate relationships, because she can be toxic in ways that she's not aware of. She thinks that her loyalty outweighs the toxicity that she brings to a situation, and it does not. All right, and lastly, Andi and Fatima, like I already said, Andi and Fatima have the least amount of time, but just like if you've ever been in a bad relationship and then gotten in a good relationship, time is not everything. Like, some people love to holler about 3 years, but that doesn't mean everything. And just like with Andi and Fatima's friendship, time is not everything. Fatima has been a very solid friend to Andi in a short amount of time. Now, yes, you do need time to test things, because true colors reveal, things happen. You can't be really tried and true in a couple days or a couple weeks. However, intentions can be clear. Traits can be established, patterns in the relationships can be established, and things like that. And you can see if it's going to be healthy or if it's not going to be healthy. And I believe that Andi and Fatima's friendship is growing in a very healthy way. It's really nice to see. So what's my opinion of the overall Sister Circle? So, all right, the girls minus Fatima, because we know, Fatima came later. But the girls minus Fatima, they have known each other since college. And I think just to be such long-standing friends, there's not much growth in the circle itself. Well, I just told y'all in the breakdowns that I just did, Danni and Sabrina, they haven't had a lot of growth where they need it really. And Andi and Karen certainly haven't had a lot of growth where they're needed. So in the circle itself and in the cliques within the circle, there's not much growth in the friendship. The sisters who don't normally talk, like Danni and Karen, because they only talk about Zach, or Sabrina and Andi and stuff like that, or Danni and Andi, they seem to be friends as much as you would be friends with like your favorite coworker. If this is supposed to be like a tight-knit square, because it's 4 of them, the ones who are not on the same wavelength, they seem to be like, just as tight as you would be with like your coworker. Like, girl, let me tell you what happened today. Kiki all day, and I'm like, all right, I'll see you later. That's what I get from them. There's no depth of trust in the group, because they'll have side conversations between the pairs of friends in the group. And then if somebody gets upset, especially Sabrina's good for that. If she gets upset, and then she'll blast Danny's issues in front of the whole group just to get the heat off of her. Karen and Andi used to act like secret squirrels, but then when Karen starts to get upset or things like that, things are said when it seemed like it was supposed to be confidential. And then Andi just has gotten to the point where Karen's supposed to be her best friend. She don't hardly tell her anything anymore. So there you have it. There is not a depth of trust in the friendship. I will say that, so the people with dominant personalities, they tend to overshadow those who don't have dominant personalities. And what I mean by that is like, so Andi gets like 5 minutes, and this is not actual time. Like, y'all don't have to go back and look at episodes and be like, no, okay, it was 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Like, I'm not being literal here, but understand the example. So if we think about it, in Tyler Perry land, when they have their girl talks and their sit downs with the sisters, like, Andi will get a cool like 5 minutes or whatever to go on about Gary. Danni might get a minute to talk about Preston and whatever she has going on at work, at the airport. Sabrina gonna get about 30 seconds to bring Calvin up before she gets dismissed and laughed at. Meanwhile, Miss Mama's Karen, she gets a 30-minute TED Talk forum to go on about Zach, who she's not even with, to ask about Fatima's business when that ain't got nothing to do with her, and Fatima don't owe her nothing, and then to tell everybody else what they need to be doing in their own relationships when her situation is raggedy. So it's not balanced, and those more dominant personalities tend to overshadow, everyone else. I will say, though, that contrary to where y'all think I might be going with that, it could be somewhat realistic. I don't feel like that's totally unrealistic. I think that in groups of women or groups of friends, period, everybody comes with their own personalities, and some people are introverted, some are extroverted. So obviously Danni is extroverted, obviously Karen is extroverted. Andi reminds me of me, hold on. As far as introvert extrovert thing, with Andi, she can be like a extroverted introvert. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like Andi can do her own thing, but when it's time to be amongst the group, she can, be fun and interactive. She's not dry, but she can honestly just be with her man and do her own thing. That's what I mean by that, y'all. Now, some of the other stuff, Andi, I love you, KJ, but me and Andi, Andrea Barnes, are not similar. I'm just talking about the introvert extrovert thing. So you got two extroverts, Danni and Karen. Then you got a extroverted introvert, Andi, and then you have an introvert, Sabrina. So they tend to get, pushed down because they're more reserved, and they're not just going to come in like, y'all, let me tell y'all, what happened. So it's easy for those other issues to move ahead. I think that the friendship pairs, meaning Andi, Karen, Danni, Sabrina, are really the only thing holding the circle together right now. We have seen the other girls match up, but it's not usually as genuine. And when I say that, I mean like when we see Karen and Danni, first of all, that's always about Zach. Besides the one time that she called her about Preston, which came off messy because they're not cool like that. And then, we saw Andi and Danni, and I wouldn't say it wasn't genuine, but obviously Andi wanted advice that was not coming from Karen. And then Sabrina and Andi are cool, but they're not super close. And normally when we see them interact, it's on the phone, trying to get all the girls together. So, the circle is very surface when it comes to the whole circle. I do also feel like they seem like they're just destined to be single until they understand that if they continue to run to the circle with their relationship problems, nothing is going to change. It's like literally the blind leading the blind. They give each other bad advice. And then they don't understand that they're repeating the same cycle over and over again. And that's why you're getting the same results. Like, if I was friends with girls for like 20 something years and I could never keep a man, and I'm always running to y'all asking y'all for advice, I'm looking at myself like, okay, am I tripping? And then I'm looking at y'all like, are y'all bad? Look, like there's no introspection. For them to be in their 30s, they don't really take much time to think about what am I doing and what should I be doing differently if I want a different result. And they definitely report way too much to each other. Like I was talking about, like how they jump on the bat line on the phone to tell each other literally everything. It's overkill. As grown women, some things should be reserved between you and your partner. And I think Fatima is the prime example of that. Of if you communicate with your partner, even when it's uncomfortable, even if you wanted to run to a girlfriend and be like, what should I do? But if you just stick it out with your partner, and then keep some of y'all's business to yourself. I'm not saying Fatima has friends. Fatima has told Andi some things here and there. But some of that you got to keep to yourself. Everything is not public knowledge, because then people look at your partner differently. And it's hard for you to demand respect for your partner if that's how you've presented them this whole time. And I just think that Fatima has shown them how that can be a recipe for a good relationship versus what they do. So all in all, my opinion of the Sister Circle, I would say, is I believe they do care about each other. But I think the circle lacks depth, like of intimacy as far as friends, especially for how long the four OGs have supposed to be friends. I believe they lack growth in their friendship, and I believe they lack trust. And those are things that should be present in a long-standing friendship. I do agree. Well, not agree with, it's necessarily agree with. I appreciate how they support each other and they're there for each other. And it is nice to see Black women on TV, like not throwing drinks in each other's faces or cussing each other out and backstabbing each other, in a malicious way. So I'll take it. I'm glad that Tyler Perry brought this to the light, that Black women can be friends and be supportive of each other. I don't like how they're always crying and complaining about why I can't get a man, why all men ain't. That's not everybody's story. I do feel like I wish he did more of a Girlfriends take. Y'all remember the show Girlfriends? Whereas The show was actually about the girlfriends. Like, it's called Sistas, but I don't believe the show is about the sisters. The show highlights each sister's story, but it's about that sister and her relationship. And then the friendship is on the back burner. Whereas when I was a fan of Girlfriends, the show was about their friendship, but you still got plenty of insight into everybody's individual storyline in their own personal, intimate relationships. But the show was about the girlfriends. And I think that if Tyler Perry continues to grow the show and they continue to get more seasons, it can come around. I would love to see more about things they go through as friends, and let's see the friendships grow. And it's great to have the guys on there. I'm not saying get rid of the guys. I'm just saying that doesn't have to be their whole lives, at least how it's presented on the show. That's just my opinion. Y'all might get in the comments and be like, Kaylee, you tripping. We just want to see what's going on with the men. They could just be me, but it'd be interesting to see. So anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents on the sisters. Do I think they're friends or foes? I definitely think they're friends. I think Danni and Karen are frenemies. I think that Fatima and Karen, I wouldn't call them frenemies. I would just call them enemies. Fatima might be a frenemy to Karen, but Karen is definitely an enemy to Fatima. I think that this circle needs to grow, but they are friends and they're trying to be there for each other, but they're all dysfunctional in their own way. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I will be back shortly because tonight is Monday. I'm going to be watching All-American and All-American Homecoming. I will be live tweeting and doing my review video tomorrow on All-American Homecoming. And then this week, you will get a retro review, guys. I'm rested up. Well, not completely, but I'm okay. And we'll do that this week. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any feedback as far as another Sisters breakdown video that you would like to see while we're on this break. Oh, and guys, I'm catching up on The Oval. I never ever watched The Oval, and I'm binge watching right now, and I'm on season 2. So guess what? I'll be adding a show to my list of review when that season comes back. So I'll have Sisters, The Oval, Fatima, and All-American Homecoming, guys. It's going to be lit on UC Kayla TV, okay? Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and have a wonderful Monday and a great week.